Great fictional universes usually start with those massive and iconic devices that show us the powerful traits of their main characters. We all love those legendary cartoons where villains push the limits and heroes save the day, especially masterpieces like Ben 10, which shaped our childhoods and offered us incredible worlds and deep lore. Let's be honest, Ben 10 wasn't just a cartoon. With its flawless world building, great character development, and that famous watch, it was practically a secret anime. Today, however, we are going to focus on the biggest, most debated question in the Ben 10 universe, one that completely divides the fandom. Which is stronger, the Ultimatrix or the Completed Omnitrix? Both devices are incredibly powerful, iconic, and have unique features. If you ask me which one I want, I could never choose between them, just as long as I get one of them. But today, we're putting our personal preferences aside to compare these two devices across all their specs, score them, and decide which one truly deserves to sit on the throne. But before we fully dive into the video, if you're new around here, please subscribe and don't forget to like the video. According to my analytics, a huge portion of people watching this channel still aren't subscribed. You hitting that subscribe button gives me incredible motivation to keep making these kind of deep dive analysis videos. We are growing really slowly, and it's in your hands to speed that up. If you're ready, let the tough battle of these two legendary devices begin. Our first comparison will be the heart of every watch, alien capacity. Honestly, the Completed Omnitrix we see in the Omniverse series is an absolute monster in this regard. Why? Because this device contains way more alien DNA. Just up until the finale of the Omniverse series, we saw Benjamin transform into exactly 62 different aliens. That's an insane number. Moreover, the Completed Omnitrix includes absolute banger aliens like Feedback, who wasn't in the Ultimatrix but was used by that legendary 11-year-old version of Ben. Feedback's story was a tale of trauma and rebirth in itself. Just having him in the device is a reason for victory on its own. Because of this, the Completed Omnitrix takes the point for the first round without hesitation. Our second topic is the mechanic that changes everything, Ultimate Aliens. Stop and think about this for a second. You take an alien form and put it through a ruthless combat simulation. After an evolutionary process lasting millions of years, you bring out only their most brutal, most powerful surviving states. This is one of the darkest and coolest lore bombs you could ever see in a kid's show. These ultimate forms are exponentially stronger than their normal states. They are literally killing machines. Visually, they also give the aliens a completely different vibe. Humungosaur's armored skin, in particular, was absolutely perfect. But while the Ultimatrix gives us this incredible feature, it was completely removed from the Completed Omnitrix. That's why Ben can't access these forms in the Omniverse series. When we look at the cool factor and pure raw power, the undisputed winner of this round is the Ultimatrix. The score is tied 1-1. Another topic is those sweet extra features the devices offer that get you hyped while watching. In the older series, Ben would just slam the watch to make it work, but these devices operate almost like smartphones. The Completed Omnitrix is an absolute technological marvel in this regard. A touchscreen voice command system, audio and video calling, voice recording, signal or file sender, DNA scanner, distress signal, homing device, and a universal translator. What else could you possibly want in a watch? It can meet all your needs on its own without requiring any other gadget. Thanks to this hardware, the Completed Omnitrix leaves the Ultimatrix in the dust. The most badass part is that the Completed Omnitrix can synchronize when it comes into close proximity with another Omnitrix user. If you recall, Ben 23 managed to unlock a few new aliens he didn't previously have thanks to this legendary feature. This immense functionality easily gives the point to the Completed Omnitrix. Now, let's dig into the foundation of the story, the origins and creators of the devices. The genius behind both devices is Azimuth, one of the smartest beings in the universe. The Ultimatrix is a prototype that Azimuth worked on for years, but before it reached a fully stable finished state, it was stolen and used by that thief, Albedo. The Completed Omnitrix, on the other hand, is Azimuth's true masterpiece. At the end of the day, since the foundation and vision of both devices came from the same brilliant mind, we are going to be fair in this round and award 1 point to each device. But what about security? With great power comes great responsibility, right? The Completed Omnitrix literally runs laps around the Ultimatrix when it comes to security. As we saw in the Ultimate Alien finale, the Ultimatrix could be hacked surprisingly easily. Imagine carrying the most powerful weapon in the universe on your wrist, but the device can be hijacked with a simple external interference. An absolute tragedy. The Completed Omnitrix, however, has a flawless security lock system that ensures it can only be used by its primary user, meaning Ben. If there is an interference from outside forces, the watch instantly activates an alternative identification program to protect itself. This transcendent engineering marvel in security earns the Completed Omnitrix another clear point. Now let's step onto the battlefield and look at how they handle defeating enemies. Looking at the Omniverse series, Ben couldn't even last a short while against that massive mutated Kevin. He was practically swatted away. But in Ultimate Alien, the mature and serious Ben of the UAF era managed to take down mutated Kevin after an emotional and bloody struggle that lasted several episodes. Of course, to be completely honest, the power levels of Kevin's mutation specifications weren't exactly equal in both series, but here we are looking at our hero's ability to fend off the main threats in his respective series. This consistency and success give the Ultimatrix a point worth its weight in gold. However, we need to put everything aside and listen to the creator's philosophy, because the completed Omnitrix actually sits at the table with a 1-0 lead. If you ask why, let's look at that devastating line that came straight out of Azimuth's own mouth. According to Azimuth, the Ultimatrix isn't even as well crafted as the original Omnitrix. It is just a pathetic copy. Azimuth never favored the use of ultimate forms anyway, because he wanted to create a peaceful device, not a weapon. Towards the end of Ultimate Alien, Azimuth was finally finishing the completed Omnitrix, which he had been working on ever since he built the first Omnitrix back in the classic series. He actually wanted to give him the device earlier, but he waited for Ben to mature a bit more so he could bear that burden. Since the Ultimatrix is seen as simplistic and faulty craftsmanship in the eyes of its creator, this prestige point goes straight to the completed Omnitrix. And there's more. The Ultimatrix wasn't just a pathetic copy, it harbored massive design flaws. During transformations, most of the aliens were naked and left fatally vulnerable to the cold. Moreover, when Ben reverted to his normal self, no matter what he was wearing as an alien, even if he was wearing a spacesuit, he would return to his old standard clothes. This situation was a huge disadvantage, essentially a death sentence in the vacuum of space or harsh climates. The completed Omnitrix, however, had fixed all of these critical hardware bugs. In conclusion, when we tally up all this detailed analysis, the winner by a 2-point margin is the completed Omnitrix. The Ultimatrix, despite its cool ultimate forms, was never truly a finished product. It was a constant headache that malfunctioned, locked up, and required Azimuth to come in behind it and clean up the mess. The completed Omnitrix, on the other hand, was the ultimate perfect masterpiece that Ben deserved to wear on his wrist after a 10-year heroic journey. I hope you enjoyed this deep dive analysis video. Comparing these two legendary watches and going back to those golden age days was truly awesome. Don't forget to share your thoughts and tell me which watch is your favorite in the comments. If you're wondering why a new Ben 10 series hasn't arrived and want to hear the story of the Ben 10 brand's downfall, you can click on the video on the screen to check it out. See you there.